another amazing opportunity this is to be with you today. Make sure you are sharing this. If you have not subscribed to this channel, what's up with that? This is the place where you get tools, insights, strategies on successfully living, loving, and leading. So if you have not subscribed, hit that subscription button. Also, don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you can get notified each and every single time new content is uploaded and it's available for you. I'm going to start part two of the session that we started last time I was with you on the power of personal evolution. The power of personal evolution. You owe it to yourself to grow. You and I were not here, are not here on the planet simply to be stagnant or to live mundane, average, ordinary lives. The intent of our purpose, part of our purpose being here, is that you and I would evolve. So if you have not seen part one, I challenge you to go and see part one. And it's going to give you some great insight and tools to live life on a successful level. Now, I want to go into part two today, and I want to open by saying that evolution requires intent. Your personal evolution requires intent. One of the greatest discoveries that one could make or is to realize that you can change your future the moment you change your intent. You can change your future the moment you change your intent or your intention, which means, ladies and gentlemen, that you must become intent on living and growing intentionally, focusing all of your energies on expansion, enlargement, educating yourself in order that you might be properly positioned to embrace the limitless possibilities that are afforded to those who purpose in their heart to evolve. However, the most difficult thing in the process of evolving is the decision to act. The rest is merely consistency. The most difficult decision in the process of evolving is the decision to act, not just have the intent and then you subsequently remain idle, but it is to make the decision to act, and the rest is merely consistent motion. It means that I am always in a state of transitioning from one version of myself into another more defined and refined version of me. This transitioning is what results in transformation. And the reality is that transformation can be awfully uncomfortable, but you must resolve that this process is necessary because you are shedding layers that no longer serve you. The problem with most people is that we carry unnecessary baggages and burdens that no longer serve our purpose, and consequently they hinder us from having the capacity to embrace new and embrace more. And so without this shedding, you and I will run the risk of sabotaging our possibilities and the prospects that are before us. That is critical because transformation is going to cost you something. The reality of it is, in order for a seed to achieve its greatest expression, it must become completely undone. The shell cracks, what's on the inside comes out, and everything changes. To someone who doesn't understand growth, it would look like complete destruction. But to people who are on the pathway to personally evolving into someone bigger, better, more engaged, more knowledgeable, having a more in-depth level of wisdom on your life, we see it as necessary processing. However, most people become disgruntled and discount the benefit discomfort provides for us in this transformation and evolution process. However, ladies and gentlemen, the reality is that only in a state of discomfort can you grow. Comfort, it's challenging to grow because Comfort offers no challenge and no real incentive to change. As long as you're comfortable where you are, you could very well remain where you are for the next decade. But it's not until you experience some level of discomfort that challenges you to grow and to change. But as long as you're in a place of comfort, there's no challenge and there's really no incentive to change. Hear me. What a person can be, he or she must be. Let me let that sink in for a moment. What a person can be, he or she must be. In other words, once you realize your potential to be, you don't stop until you become. Life is a process of becoming. It's a combination of states we have to go through. Where most people fail is that they get to a certain point, a certain state in their life, and they choose to remain in it. But as long as you are living, you are continually going through cycles of growth, change, adaptation, so that you can advance and morph into the individual that you are predestined to be. Now, maybe your journey towards personal evolution isn't really so much about becoming anything. Maybe entertain the notion that it's about unbecoming everything that really isn't you at all, so that you can be who you were meant to be in the first place. Please hear me, nothing is as painful and regrettable as staying stuck somewhere you don't belong, being the person you were never meant to be. Now, that's critical. That's going to revolutionize how you contemplate your next move, or should I move or should I not? Because there's nothing more painful and that produces more regret or recurring regret in your life as staying stuck somewhere you know you don't belong, and not becoming the person that you were ultimately meant to be. Because personal evolution is about effort, and it's about existing in a place of fulfillment and purpose and experiencing life on the level you were designed to live it. Please hear me, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not experiencing life on the level you desire or want to, or have visions of yourself experiencing it on, then it means now that you have to keep evolving until the things you envision in your heart, your mind, and your spirit are a manifested reality. If you're still not anywhere close to where it is you envision, then that means that you're not existing in that place yet, but you have to keep pushing, keep persevering, and keep challenging yourself to be as great as you possibly can be. Because what I want you to understand before you become jealous or envious of another person, another day of your life because of where they are, what they have accomplished, what they have achieved, how much money they have, how much favor that they walk in. I need you to understand that contained within the details of every one of our success stories are the realities of constant adaptation, revision, and change. Hear me. You will never, 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 never experience any level of success in your life that does not involve, or that's not a result of you having to constantly adapt, make revisions, and make constant changes in your life. The one thing that is for sure is that you becoming the person you want to be, or living the kind of life or lifestyle that you want, it's going to require that you become flexible enough to realize that perhaps you don't have a big enough take on the circumstance to make the kind of decisions you've been making. And sometimes you've been seeing life too small, and you don't have a broad enough view of it to make the right decisions, to make certain moves in your life. But the reality of it is you're going to constantly have to adapt. And so if you're a person that's rigid, and that I'm not changing, I'm not moving, I'm not changing for them, they're going to have to change for me. Ultimately, what you're doing is you're sentencing yourself or your life's progress, You're sentencing it to death. When the truth is that if you're going to have success, the reality of it is, yes, you're going to constantly be adapting, constantly making revisions, constantly changing. But it's about how intentionally and internally you provoke yourself to push yourself to places that you have never been before. Even not just physically or tangibly, but pushing your mind, causing it to perceive and to conceive things and concepts that you never ever thought you'd find yourself. You never thought you'd hear yourself talking like this, using these kind of numbers and astronomical figures concerning your life. Because you thought you were limited to, I can only make $50,000 a year, but now you're imagining yourself saying, well, I can make 250 a year, I can make 300 a year. And so it's about how you intentionally and internally hear this on a daily basis. Begin to provoke yourself, to push yourself to places that you have never been before. Now, I want to caution you because this mindset will certainly create some tension between you and those around you who are reluctant and resistant to change their life, their habits, their daily routines. They will not particularly appreciate your efforts to change because they've gotten comfortable with the version of you that they are so familiar with. Because here's the trip part. There are people who tend to think that you're always going to be who you always were. And so your responsibility and obligation to yourself is to defy the limited viewpoint that others have of you and detest it so much that you don't allow other people's limited perception of you to become your limited perception about yourself. You got to get up every day and forecast the future. You have to get up absolutely every day of your life and make some proclamations and some predictions about the outcome and the future of your life each and every day of your life. Because, ladies and gentlemen, you and I, as human beings, are works in progress. The mistake that we make is when we assume that we're finished. Let me give you that again. As a human, as a person who's walking on the planet in this earth realm, all of us are works in progress. It doesn't mean, and most people shy away from that because when you say a work in progress, it means that you're bad and I gotta get to a better place. No, it can mean you're actually doing incredibly well, but you want to get to a much better place. Because just because I'm in a good position doesn't mean I don't want to be in a better, right? And so you got to get up every day and make the determination that I've got to evolve in every area of my life. Because hear me, the person you are right now is a transient. You're not in one phase of your life to stay there. You're not in one juncture of your life to just stay there. And you have to understand that you are constantly evolving. There is no way you're the same person at 10 that you are at 20, or that you are 20 or that you are 30, or 30 and 40, and so on. Your life is making constant progression and movement and changes. And so you have to decide, I've got to evolve. Now, the reality is you have to proceed with evolving, even if no one else endorses your endeavor to do so. Now, I'm going to let that sit there for a moment because I can tell you how many people that I've counseled and talked into evolving, that they let people who had no intention on doing anything remotely significant with their lives talk them out of it. And so you have to get up every day, determine that I'm going to proceed with evolving, even if nobody else endorses my endeavor. Stop spending the rest of your life waiting on everybody to be in agreement with your intention for advancement. You're pleading pleading with your mother, your father, your sisters, your cousins, grandmother. Yo, please believe in me. Please believe in me. Please believe in me. At some point, you have got to realize that even if you have no endorsement from those you think you should be getting it from, or the nurturing you thought, or the support system that you thought that should be in place in order for you to go to the place that you want to go in life. The reality of it is you don't need anybody to endorse it. You just have to have this internal reluctant belief in yourself and what it is you see in your vision and in your spirit. And there is absolutely nothing or anyone that can stop you from accomplishing your goal, because your intent must be, you must be insistent about building the identity and the individual you want yourself to be. Let me give you that again. You must be intent and insistent about building the identity and the individual you want yourself to be, which means now that I have to own my identity. I can't allow anyone else to shape me, those who have negative intent. I can't allow anyone to sway me to be something other than what I am convinced in my heart and my spirit that I know God wants me to be, that I want to be for myself. Because if you're not careful, people will define you or redefine you and contour you to fit into the preconceived notion of who they think you should be and who they want you to be. But what sense does it make for me to be successful at who you want me to be, and I fail very miserably at being the person I was created to be? And so if you're going to evolve into that being, that person of significance, that person of substance, that person of value, that person of importance, then again, you can't wait on anybody to endorse your decision. You have to go even with no endorsement, but you have to take responsibility and ownership of the fact that you've got to build the identity and of the individual you want yourself to be. Because I need you to understand, in order to take control of your evolving process and move closer to the best life you want for yourself, you need to do a few things. One of the things that you have to do that I cannot stress to you enough, and that I'll probably do it over and over and over again, is that you have to improve your self-knowledge. You have to know you better. A lot of times why we are not experiencing the kind of success or winning streaks that we should in life is because we don't know ourselves good enough. You have to improve your self-knowledge and notice when your environment or the people around you are draining you and or drawing you into their perception, and decide if that's what you want for your future or not. I have to be so not only aware of myself, but I have to be aware of the environments in which I place myself. That means even if I have to get up from the table from around my mother and sisters and people who are contributing to me having a lower perspective of myself, or those who are causing my esteem to take certain hits. Whenever you figure out that you're in an environment where people around you are draining you and causing you to devalue who you are, because after all, if all of them thinking, who am I to oppose that thought? Maybe I should just concede to the fact that I am who they say. I'm only going to go as far as they say. But at some point, you got to decide, is this the kind of future I want for my life, my children, my grandchildren? Am I going to break certain cycles, certain hindrances? But it all comes down to the fact that at the end of the day, it is your decision whether or not you're going to evolve. Ladies and gentlemen, to become insistent on latching on to and maintaining a particular stage or state in your life is an unattainable fantasy and a deliberate rejection, hear me, of potential metamorphosis. You cannot allow anything or anybody to prevent you or cause you to reject potential metamorphosis that creates more opportunities for you by deciding that you're going to maintain and stay where you are and sustain a level in life that is nowhere near your potential. You're doing nothing noteworthy at this point. And so you have to reject being where you are another day, month, year, decade of your life. Otherwise, you're going to reject potential metamorphosis. All of us have to go through what I like to call mandatory metamorphosis. It's like when the caterpillar goes from a caterpillar to a butterfly. It's a process that's already in motion from the day it was born. It can't decide, no, 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 today I don't want to get my wings. Maybe, let's schedule this 2 weeks from now. It's going to happen whether it wants it to or not. It's a predetermined, mandatory metamorphosis that it has to go through in order to become what it always had the potential to be in the first place. Some of you that are watching me now have all the potential in the world. Sadly enough, I've lived long enough to see people die with tons of potential. I've seen people that I've counseled with nothing but potential, but they threw it away. It's not enough just to have potential, but you have to have a mindset that says, I'm not from this moment on going to reject potential metamorphosis. Some things are mandatory. I have to change the way I talk. I have to change the way I behave. I have to change the way I interact with this. I have to change the way I used to blow up because of this and certain triggers in my life. Because until I can perfect and manage those things in my life that prevent me from morphing or going through this metamorphosis, then I'm going to stay grounded and stuck where I am. Let me say this to every individual that's watching me now. Be careful you don't become just anything. Now sit there for a moment. Be very, very careful that you don't just become anything, but rather you become everything you've imagined yourself becoming. You have the right of choice. Again, the moment you discover that you can change your future, the moment you change your intent or intention, then you'll put yourself in alignment on course to become everything you've imagined yourself become. Don't just become anything for anybody. Well, I can tell you the countless number of people I know now who are doctors, but they wanted to do something else. But mother them forced this on them. And so they just kind of acclimated to what everybody else wanted them to be and what everybody else wanted them to become. And so you spend your life, again, pleasing others, but internally, you're frustrated, you're unfulfilled, you have no joy, there's no purpose that it seems that you are living for. So don't just become anything. Rather, you can become every single thing that you have imagined yourself becoming. Let me say it to you again. You can become every single thing that you've imagined yourself becoming. There's a quote that says that it's never too late to become who you were created to be. It's never too late to be who you were meant to be. All you got to do is align your intention and make the decision that my focus is not going to waver, is not going to veer from the objective of what I'm in pursuit of. If you're in pursuit of a better life, there's some adjustments, some adaptations, some revisions. You might have had a plan 2 years ago, but there's certain things that will rise in your life that now you got to make some revisions to that plan, right? I've got to take into account everything that's transpiring now. And I got to constantly keep aligning my vision, keep aligning my vision. It's like when you're flying. Before you board that plane, the pilot already has what's called a flight plan, right? And that flight plan has all the coordinates to get you from where you are to your destination. But then there's some unforeseen things that while he's following the flight plan, a weather pattern that they didn't anticipate it may arise, right? And so it will cause him to alter the flight plan shift a little bit to the west, climb 4,000 feet higher, drop 2,000 feet lower. In order that the ride can be as smooth as possible, you can avoid unnecessary turbulence. But most people are so inflexible that, no, this is the plan I have, and they'll fly into storms. They'll fly into unnecessary disturbances because they don't understand that even though you have a plan, you got a flight plan, you have to be consciously aware enough to realize that even while I'm en route to the destination, it's going to require that I make some course alterations sometime. The only thing that will not change is that I know the destination. Again, if I got to go a little to the east to get there, I'll come around and get that way. But the destination is the ultimate thing that has to be on your mind. Now, hear me when I tell you again, you can become the person starting today. I'm not talking about something you have to wait 4 months to do, a year to do. You can become the person you want to be and that you envision yourself being today. All you have to do, again, when you discover you can change how your future looks and the outcome of it by simply changing your intention. When you change what you know, you will change what you want. The only reason you hadn't wanted better is because you've never seen better modeled. You never known that was even a possibility. That's why I tell people all the time, you'll never grow beyond your level of exposure. It is essential for you evolving that you purposely put yourself in direct connection with people who are doing what you want to do, going where you want to go, operating on the level of life, living the kind of life you want to live, and expose yourself to that. Because I want to tell you on this day, there is nothing you can do. You got to get up every day and say, I'm transitioning from one version of myself into another version that's more defined, more refined. Every day I'm getting up. I'm a better me today than I was yesterday. And I thought I was pretty good yesterday. But I can't rest on yesterday's laurels. I got to get up every day in a transitionary mode. I can't keep saying stuff like, well, this is the way I've always done it. Daddy did it like this, granddaddy did it like that. And so that's what I know. You have to break and sever those ties with those redundant, ridiculous, unproductive habits that has not produced anything positive or productive in your life. And you got to say, as for me, starting this new chapter, this new season of my life, I owe it to myself to grow. Let me say it to you again. You owe it to yourself to grow. You owe it to everybody coming after you. You owe it. You have an obligation to that son, that daughter, that grandchild, you owe it to all of them to grow. Watch it. The higher you grow, the better go they have of life than you did. Right? You may not have started out where you are now, but guess what? Over the course of time and transitions of your life, you now are able to give them a better start than you had because you decided that I am going to evolve every single day of my life. That's what you need to say to yourself. I'll give you a moment. Say it to yourself. Starting today, I'm evolving. Starting today, I'm becoming more self-aware. Starting today, I'm watching the environments I'm in, and I know how to withdraw myself without apology because I will not let you taint my thoughts about me. I will not let you or your environment taint how I talk to me about me. See, people say you're crazy if you talk to yourself. I say you're crazy if you don't talk to yourself. You got to get up absolutely every day and start talking to yourself. Say, hey, we're on our way to that millionaire status. Hey, we're on our way to opening this endeavor or this industry, or we're on our way to do whatever you feel like is a part of your purpose. That's a part of your flight plan. Everybody's going to different destinations, so everybody has a different flight plan, which means you can't be comparing yourself to somebody else. It only takes an hour to get from where I live to Houston, but it takes 8 hours to get from here to London, right? And so I can't get jealous because the person that's going from here to Houston, they made it to their destination before I did. It's because I have a different destination. Maybe require me to do longer, be longer, something longer than they did, but it doesn't matter. Once you understand that you have a destination, but that destination requires that you evolve into being the best possible version of yourself that you possibly can be. I want you to do yourself a favor. I want you to write down areas in your life now that you know you have to start evolving in. Go ahead. Do it. Make some notes. Jot it down. Got to start evolving in this. If you're going to experience any expansion in life, if you're going to experience any increase in your life, then it's going to be a result of an expansion of your mind and an evolving of your thought process. And if you can do that, I promise you, you don't have to just be anything. You can be absolutely everything that you want to be in life. Well, I'm out of time for this session. I hope you have gleaned some things. I hope there's been some tools and nuggets and strategies that you've heard this day that are going to change how you approach life from this day forward. I want you to go back, rehearse it, replay this over and over and over again until it becomes intricate within the fiber of your thought process. Because your life goes no further than your thoughts. You got to get up every day. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Your life will go no further than your thoughts, right? Don't forget, go to my website, henrybolden.com. Make sure you go there. You can send questions. You can send praise reports. You can sew. You can do all of those incredible things. Don't forget to go to the bookstore, pick up some amazing resources that I know are absolutely going to benefit you in a significant way. Again, if you have not subscribed to this channel, do it right now. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you can always know when new content is here, and you can be here to join me. Don't forget to tell your family, friends, coworkers, everybody. Go and hit the subscribe channel to this button. All right. Don't forget, success has a formula, and I want to be the one that shows it to you. I'll see you on next time.